Good afternoon, it's Joyful Hermit. I want to talk now about what I mentioned just at the end of this other video. And I know the other two videos that I had to do part one and part two, the one got very, very long. It was too detailed. It doesn't matter if you listen through it or not. I had to get it out finally. I had to get it out. I'd started doing these videos last fall, a year ago. In part, a big part, was for my grandchildren, or eventually great-grandchildren, if they ever wanted to really know me, or even my children know me more, of what's going on in my inner life, which is more my actual life, because it rules the outer life, my spiritual life. And so that this experience I had with the devil and how God protected me, how this priest, listening to the Holy Spirit, nudge him with a forewarning that I was going to be in danger, after just having been with me for about 30 minutes on a train, 30 or 40 minutes, and got off and then celebrated the very next Mass he offered it for my life, for my protection, that I would be okay. He had no idea what was going to happen. He just had this forewarning, premonition that my life was going to be endangered. And sure enough, it was. And then even how God, when I said my prayer and I thought about how I've got my crucifix on, this invisible arc went around so that this evil demoniac had to drop my arm. She had a firm grip on. I was not any contention for her strength. And she was going to drag me back up to her apartment. And who knows what she would end up doing to me. It wasn't looking good at all. So, but she was prohibited by God, by the Holy Spirit and Jesus. So all these things are a reality. And in all the steps of even trying to get help, every step of the way was blocked, until finally I had to go in utter faith down into this dark stairwell in this old, ancient building in there, just trusting a kid who had come out of a shadowy, very narrow alleyway, maybe like 6 feet wide. So old, the town was so old, maybe people would just walk that, or a horse or something, or a donkey, but back in the time when they built it. But it was all faith, and the fact that the demoniac somehow had gotten a note into a book that I had forgotten, that had a cover on it, so you couldn't even see what the name of the book was, or that it was in English, but she would never have been let back into that apartment by the concierge. So, and to find the book and to put the note in it right at the spot I'd left off, and it was just creepy. And then the book took 2 years to get back to me, as sort of as a reminder that it all was real, that it all happened. And it came back, that would have been about 2010. I then, about 6 months after this incident, I started having, or no, before that, 4 months later, I started having these ecstasies. So, God keeps us progressing. But some of us are in more of a spiritual mode, and maybe I'm meant to share this. Not only for, hopefully, my grandkids someday might be interested, who was my grandmother? I opened up just briefly to my grandson last November, end of November, right after his birthday. But not much. I, just a little bit about my videos, because I needed some help with the technicality of it. And so, but just superficially, I said I'm a little different. Well, he knew that, but it heard his parents say things, his dad especially. So, just how it is. But I had this experience last night that I had a signal grace, first one in this house that I recall. I might have had some back when I was waiting for the spine surgery over 5 years ago. Maybe I did when I was laying on the floor down there at the end of the bed on the floor. But this was loud. It was last night. Came from here, from that wall up there. Came from the wall. The sound did, but I think it was doing like an exclamation point on the thought that came to me to help me understand a situation I've been in for 17 years with someone that I totally misread it. And Dr. H even had advised me, and a couple of priests, and my spiritual father, who's also a priest. If you're dealing with something that the devil is behind and has made a person sort of the prisoner of dark spirits, the dark spirits, powers of darkness, as this book title calls the devil. Whatever you want to call the devil or forces of darkness, the evil one, Satan, there's so many words for the devil. Whatever you're comfortable with. The point is that he is a reality. This is a reality. And the more you face it and deal with it, the better off you're going to be. But there's different ways that you respond. And sometimes you have to do what Jesus said. If you offer your peace and your peace isn't returned, you take back your peace, you shake the dust from your sandals, and you move on to the next place. And that next place can be in the mind, in the heart, in the soul, or even physically on earth, temporally, a different location. If you're a student it could be a different school. It could be a different classroom. It could be into getting help from an adult, into the principal's office or the counselor and getting adult help. Or as an adult, getting a divorce, getting a legal separation first and see if that helps, and then get a divorce if you happen to be with someone who is a prisoner to dark forces. And it can be very subtle, and then you can talk yourself out of it very easily. Your imagination's getting... The devil is not... It's not anything spooky or creepy. Now, yes, the devil can manifest in awful ways. If you start, if one at certain levels of being tried and of learning the spiritual life, you will have demonic attacks. And you'll go through a phase fairly early on that it'll become physical and visual in visions and things. You'll see, or you'll wake up, or you'll have dreams that will be horrifying to you, or you will wake up and have fire across your bed, or like a dog trying to attack you, or I had one time, like in a big plastic bubble, this evil cat just trying to get out of that thing, trying to get at me, and it was right on my chest, and it's horrifying. And if you wake up and you're seeing that, it's the devil likes to use shock element. Then the devil will use more subtle, if that doesn't work, subtle ways, and will get into your head and with temptation thoughts that aren't right. So yesterday I started having these thoughts. And they were despairing, but I thought, well, what other choice do I have? I mean, there was major life decision kinds of things. And that I thought, well, what other choice do I have? But to leave, to get out of a situation, get out of a position, or that I was in, in order to get away from a person who I've known for probably 16 and a half of the over 17 years has evil going on. Now, the person, it isn't the person. This is a good thing to learn also, that it's what's operating in the person or a situation. And I was writing to Dr. H explaining some of this because it'll be, even though he has all the experience with clinical psychology, he has sometimes some cases of people, teenagers, adults, that are maybe suffering and in such horrible pain that they want to take their lives and things. And logically, you could even think, and I even said, well, I couldn't blame the person. But, I would never blame if a person did, if they were in just horrible pain, like some people are. Motor neuron disease, different things like that, or writhing uncontrollably on the floor. And it can happen anytime, and it's burning. And so I don't have pain that horrible. Mine might be somebody else could be in my body and think I couldn't take that. When I think of other people and some of their pain, I think I couldn't live with that. So it's all relative. But kids that get bullied or rejected, and then they want to go try to get this person or a couple people who'd been their friend, can't believe that they'd reject them and would be so mean to them all of a sudden and stay mean and try to win them back. And we have to get through the layers of all the temporal fog, or the temporal clouds, or the temporal fluff that is blinding us to see what's behind it and who is behind it. It's the devil that's behind all these. Anything that's evil, anything that's bad, anything that is has lies involved with it, hurtful, not anything that's not loving, malicious, untruthful, deceitful, unkind, uncompassionate, all of these things that are not good, the devil is at the root of it, at whatever amount or degree of it, can be even a little bit. It's still the evil or the dark forces are behind it. I'm just going to use the evil one or the devil because I'm comfortable with that term. It doesn't bother me. It's an easy term. It's the one that's used in the Bible. One's used in the Bible, and have even in Judaism, they have, the Old Testament, the devil was there too. It's been forever since the Garden of Eden in the Bible. So that is just a reality. And once we identify it, that's one of the first steps. If you're in a situation where things aren't going well, and it doesn't make sense, or things like that, it's you have to start identifying, well, what's behind this? And of course, first you're looking at the person or the situation or a group of people. And well, that's behind it. That's the problem. They're the problem. This is the problem. No, what's in them? What's operating in them? What's like the puppeteer, and they're the puppet, or so it's evil spirits, dark spirits is what's behind it. The angel of darkness. There's angels of light, and then Lucifer broke away. He wanted pride and power and all. He fell. So that he became the devil. That became the devil. And so we've got that all straight. So we've got that figured out. Now, how do you deal with it? Well, some things you can just handle. You can walk through it, get through it that way. But I have found, or I've really found, if you're really dealing with spirits of darkness and it's gone on for any length of time and you've tried all kinds of things and the person hasn't gotten away from it, hasn't come back to goodness, kindness, or even a level of interhuman dignity. But if the person is continuing to lie or to disparage or to take parts of what you say and twist it to make it bad, or continues to cheat on you, or bully you, or put you down, say in a marriage or something like that, or in kids' things, continue to bully, continue to do dirty tricks on you, ridicule, or to make you look bad, or to cheat in sports, or all the different ways that evil operates. And it can be very subtle to very obvious. It can be mental, it can be emotional abuse, it can be physical. But it's bad, and it's all from forces of darkness, the devil. So, some things are easy to get away from. And then especially if it's early on, and if the devil isn't that attached to the person that they're operating through. If the devil has been in that person for a long time, then it will be very strong in that person. And what the insight I had last night and the reality shown me that made this big boom out of my wall up above the window there, and coming right from where my mind was thinking of it, this verbal area of the mind, of the brain, was that in my situation, this person has been a prisoner of the evil one, unwittingly, I'm sure. In fact, has denied recently in writing, denied the existence of the devil, didn't like that term at all, so came up with more of a massaged, soft little thing that was more esoteric a little bit. But I think still meant, I think the person agrees that there's evil out there. Totally in deception, though, of the self. And so it's a situation that this insight is that because I had a warning from a couple of people who wrote me way back in 2008, telling me that they had been attacked by this person online, and that they got out and removed their name, removed their comment as soon as I read it, because they did not want this person attacking them again. They had gotten rid of this, they immediately had gotten offline. Well, and they advised me to do the same. Don't mess with her. Don't mess with this person. Is very evil person, very bad, and scary to them. Because it was very, there's lots of people out there who understand the spiritual, and know that the devil is very real, and how the devil will operate in people. And we should have compassion on people who are prisoners, who are ensnared and don't realize. And Anastasia, the woman who held me against my will, and had been like that for years, well, from teenage or even before. I think her mother had given her over to be in the system, child care system, foster care, because the mother couldn't deal with her when she was little. So, as it turns out, just piecing together all that Anastasia told me about her growing up, And her mother, I could tell on the phone, was very, loved her daughter and concerned about her, but knew, knew the mother wasn't there, So Anastasia had maybe tried to hurt the mother. Who knows? Maybe Anastasia's a psychopath or something. I mean, it seems sort of creepy with the things that she said she did, and how she treated me wasn't going in a very good direction. So, but it's and was definitely in league with the devil in a serious way. Possession. She was possessed. Now, the person I've had is not a possessed person whatsoever. Oppressed, if you're, and manipulated by, and is at some point in the person's life gave over to it. But not in, most people are just out there among us. Politicians, anyone, people, police, it can be in anyone. Comes in through disorders usually. The devil will come in on us in any weakness, even suffering and pain and being sick. You have to be very strong in the Lord. You have to cling to Christ, offer yourself, be in church, be in a church, be in the living word, read the scriptures, have the sacraments, pray, put on the armor of God, especially in any times of weakness or upset, grieving, when bad things happen, just in general. Make sure that you are tight with Christ, in tight with God, close to God, because that's your greatest, well, that's not only the greatest protection, I'll get to that. So, love, I'll just say, pure love. Being in God's pure love is the strongest protection. But in God, in His pure love. So it is, though, that the longer, I thought, and I was advised, just ignore the person, just ignore, she'll stop. Well, I thought that with the neighbor lady, but after 6 years, I had to get out. And that she escalated toward the end. When the house went up on the market, they escalated the evil. And that should have been a tip-off, but I didn't get it then. But I've gotten it now because of the thought that came in that big pop, that big signal grace. That in cases where you think you can ignore it, but it keeps going on, it's not just the person who is used by the devil, and has become so used to being used by the devil, it's not logical, the things that they say, and then they deny they said it. They're blinded, they're totally deceived. But the person did clean up things that they'd written, got rid of some of it, not all of it, but some of it, because I had left a mess. I talked about it, and the person needed to do that. So good. And then before, when the person found out that I'd called the diocese and that they said to take legal action, she got rid of some of the stuff, but not all. And then became emboldened again. The longer I stayed with it, the longer I listened to what I thought was wise advice, to just ignore it, and it would go away. They don't. If the devil is really in someone tight, grips tight, has them fully deceived, and they just keep going, and it might not be horrible stuff that they keep going at, but it's still sin. It's lies, it's distruth, it's the pride in them, the need to be important, and no one else can, the problem that these other people said, that you can't handle anyone else writing on this topic, and being in her mind competition. So needs to be the one and only, the authority, the credibility. I even lately have tried to throw that on it like water on, like here, or giving a bone to a dog. This person has credibility now. This person is the authority, thinking that that would appease the pride and she'd back off. But no, see, it doesn't, because the devil is smarter than the person. And the devil knew what I was doing. Devil wasn't going to let go of all this situation, because, and this is the whole thing, is that then the person who is then victim to the victim, I became a prisoner to the devil's prisoner just by hanging around. I didn't take my peace back right away and move on. Should have just followed that scripture from 16, 17 years ago or something. No matter what it would mean. Stop writing online totally. In 17 years, I could have written a lot of books, but I didn't. I was foolish. It's easier to write using my laptop and then doing the blogs. And it was fun. And it was nice getting comments too and having interactions and feedback. Writers like to write, authors write for readership. So I just, and also I always felt intimidated, like, well, how would I ever get anything published? I was too negative. I was probably the evil one wanted me to feel that way, insecure, and like I wasn't good enough. And I thought too, because I get such flack for being very spiritual, that no one would be interested, because being very spiritual and Catholic often isn't a good combination. Somebody from San Francisco, a man, he was a sort of took on people, and you could be the next, I forget who it was, some Louise Hay or somebody. But I said, no, I'm not New Age. See, I'm not New Age. But wanted to promote me. And said, oh, even your voice sounds like Louise Hay, and how you talk sounds like her. I'm not New Age, though, see. So then I felt defeated that I wouldn't be successful writing or anything, because I don't want to be New Age. I'm not going to sell myself off to something I don't believe in. Don't believe in New Age. And I'm Catholic, so, but I have found that Catholics are more uncomfortable, I think, with mystical things and spiritual things, unless you're a priest, maybe. But even then, look at Padre Pio. He got really raked through. Whatever. I'm learning it now that the devil does not want to let go of the pawn of the prisoner. So that's why I've been having such trouble getting away from this person without totally just, being totally off internet or whatever, doing that. And, but there's more to this. It's not just getting offline. That may not be necessary at all. There's something more powerful. I mean, it may be, I don't know, but that may not be. God may want me to do the other, but also the thought has come, do both. I can still try to write books. I'm not dead yet. I can do that, and I can still talk and be online. But I in getting away from this person, not being a victim, a pawn to the victim, which this person, if a person is, if the evil one is operating through the host, let's say, the host person, and then the host person has other people that they are influencing, the devil doesn't want to let go. In other words, the devil doesn't want to let go of me, is not happy. that I'm even willing, it's fine if I'm not canonically approved. I've even wondered, do I want to be involved in something that has such taint to it, where the devil can so easily get into some of these people through pride that they have, that they're approved and they're canonical and they're legal and they've got a position in the church and they're respected and they're noticed. They're noticed. They've been announced to their diocese. They've had a big mass. They've had a reception. They wear a habit every day. And they go out and they work in a parish, or they work in a hospital, or they work where they're seen. And they're important hermits. And they're rare. So they're written up. There's so many articles on different hermits in the Catholic press and in the temporal press too. So it's, it can get to their head. Then who's going to come in with pride? The devil. So maybe it's not such a good thing. I mean, I'm thinking, if I want to be in pure love, purity, and in God is pure love, humility is the most important thing, the opposite of pride. And love is the most important thing. Pure love, not just love, has to be pure love. God's love, God's pure love. That's my goal in life. It's not being a hermit. It's not being a hermit. The hermit is the vehicle to the goal to help me. It's the vehicle God chose for me. It's like you go into a car lot and God picked out that one. And that was the hermit one he wants me to drive through life in. And for a priest, he wants a different one, and married, he wants a different, etc., etc. So, but the reality that by sticking it out and trying to ignore, I was just still being steeped by, I was being a pawn. And the devil doesn't want to let go of me. I've been so sick, that sudden gut attack. The devil is allowed to affect our bodies even. The devil is allowed a lot of leeway. Read Job, you'll see all the different ways that the devil is allowed to attack us. Physiologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Spiritually is the trickiest when you get to that level. There's all these layers of the temporal that the devil will work in. It's like it's a big layered box of layers of sand and different things, and the devil's down in there, just messing with whatever. And there we are at whatever being messed with by the devil, but not directly always. That's the point of this. It can happen through the host person or situation. And then you need to decide, how long are you going to stay with it, thinking that you can help this person to turn it around and not be like that. Help the person get rid of the devil. And if the person's had the devil in them very long, you have to be pretty realistic about it, and very humble, like, who am I to think that I could get rid of this source, this spirit of darkness in a person, or help the person to get out? If the person doesn't want to let go of the devil and doesn't even anymore see that the devil is manipulating them, that person's going to have a battle getting rid of the devil too themselves. If they don't want to get rid of the devil, then good luck. I would say it's just, you have to be realistic. And yes, but now in the Catholic Church, there's all these prayers and sacramentals and devotions that are very powerful. And part of the reason why they're very powerful is because they have been repeated for centuries by priests, by bishops, by people, lay people, repeated the same words, the same prayers, prayers of exorcism, prayers of deliverance. You can find them online now. I have them in old books. And there's the power in those prayers because the words have been used by so many thousands and thousands of people praying them and repeated in the same words. That lends a power to the force of those prayers. And same with sacramentals, holy water, crucifixes, the rosary, anything with the Virgin Mary, novenas, prayer, the same prayer for 9 days in a row, or 9 hours, or every 9 minutes. The number 9 came out of a situation that it was very strong on the 7th of October. And we're having a 7th of October. Israel's having a 7th of October. But the Christian world had a 7th of October in the Battle of Lepanto. I thought of that today. How the 7th of October it's a major Christian remembrance also, in addition to the Israeli remembrance of what horrible thing that happened to them on the 7th of October. Ours was the big battle on the 7th of October was resolved by the Holy Father in that century called upon all Catholics all to pray. And I think it was before. I don't know if it was before the Reformation or after, but for all to pray the Rosary. And so many people did. It was a powerful force of prayer. And the battle was won by the Christians. And so that was a victory. So anyway, you have to analyze your situation and ask God to help. Ask the Holy Spirit to help. But just understand, analyze yourself. If you have been always trying to think that the person was going to change, or that you could help the person, and you've prayed and prayed and prayed for years and years and years, had a prayer trees, prayer plants, made offerings, offered your life, offered your illnesses, offered your suffering, and you're not making a dent, and way back should have realized, then you need to move on. You need to get away, and you need to really get away from the person who has the devil operating in them. If you wait too long, very long with that, then you become part of what the devil is doing. The devil has the host person taken over. And then there's the surrounding ones around. The host person that the devil will reach out and grab, and will use the person to grab. This person that has become obsessed with me has been for quite a while. I have some friends, we'd laugh about it even, and boy, she's really addicted to you. Can't let go. And no, because who is it in the person who can't let go? It's the devil. The devil doesn't want to have me leaving. So that's why I'm having all of this disturbance going on in my life. Because I finally, a couple of weeks ago or so, brought it to a head. I decided I'm putting a stop to this now. 17 years is long enough. I had consulted with Dr. H, and he knows the person's issue on a psychological level, and said, do this, this will work, And I followed through for a month, and the person only got worse. So I realized that wasn't working either. And then trying to get away, And I am very clear about that, willing to give up things that I thought God wanted for me. I didn't know for sure, but I thought surely He would want this other thing for me. And I don't think so. It has tentacles in it. It's like an octopus with tentacles. Let's put it that way. That's a good image. That there's the host, and the black ink got into the host, the forces of darkness, and took over a person or a situation. That the body part of the octopus has that person. But here's these tentacles going out, these octopus tentacles, and they have black ink kind of stuff in them too. And so the one on the end of the tentacle, one of them decides, I'm getting out of here. This isn't worth it. There's nothing. It's not been good. It's been more and more evil, more and more blackness on me, more darkness, more whatever, worse and worse. And you try to get away, and it's not so easy. You start having this bombardment of evil things happening. And I understand the devil and how I understand these things, and I'm starting to experience, well, the devil is attacking in this way, the devil's attacking me in that way, all these ways, what gives? And that was last night when I had the thought, I'm getting away from this person. I'm definitely getting away. I'm cutting it, even if it means I have to get out of the very church that we share. Because I am in God and I'm in His pure love. And my life, God will know why. I have to remove myself, even if I do, from the temporal Catholic Church in order to get away from the evil of the dark forces that have taken over this octopus and all of the tentacles. That I can guarantee you there are probably other people in this person's life, well, the people that had left comments, that they had been attacked. They probably way back in 2008, when I got the messages from them, probably had some demonic assaults for having done what they had to do to get away. So let's take this, let's get away from that one. That's my situation, and I've got it figured out, and God knows if I need to, I will, and God understands. And that includes other aspects of it. If I need to remove myself, take my peace back, and shake the dust and move on. It will always be moving on in God and in His pure love. And it isn't going to matter because God's going to work it out. God will work it out. Sometimes God wants us just to know that we're willing, that we know that God is everything. God is everything to us, and His pure love is everything to us. And that we know that when we die, all of this temporal stays behind. And that we will be in God. We will be in His church triumphant. We will be in His house with many rooms in heaven. And so God knows, and He knows what we're going through on earth. He wants us to get away, to not be on the end of the tentacles. And He probably was pleased that we wanted and we loved the person, pray for the person, keep doing that, pray for the person, love for the person, forgive the person, understand, have compassion for the person. But I thought, I've been a fool. And maybe pride, thinking that I could finally somehow help or win this person over after 17 years. No, I mean, ding dong, was that somebody, some politician had used, I don't keep up too much with, somebody had called himself a knucklehead or something. I thought, oh, that's me, I'm a knucklehead. 17 years I stuck with this situation. Well, my daughter stuck 20 years in a marriage that the rest of us could see wasn't good from the start. But, and we tried to say, but she had to come to it. She came to it at the end of the first year, but she stuck with it for 20 years. And same kind of thing. She says it was pride, Mom. It was pride. I don't think thinking that she could, at first I think she thought she could help him. She's very sweet, very loving. And, but then it got fear. It was fear to get out. But she didn't want to have to admit that she'd failed. And she thought of her wedding vows and the beautiful wedding and people coming, all that. And it's a burden. I said, it's too bad, I wish she'd told me. I would have said, don't worry. I know. We were all, the first year, we were thinking, oh, I hope that she realizes, not terrible person, wrong person, very much a wrong for each other. So, but beautiful child, and that was another thing, to rear that child. So God has blessed her many times over for staying with that. But it's a sacrifice, see. But the devil won't want to let go of the host's little suckers that develop around the life. It can be in a marriage when you have children and the wife is abused or the one child is abused or whatever. One person is the host of the devil, in essence, and the others become complicit. The devil then gets hold of all of those with the octopus legs. And that's my metaphor for it. I'm sure it'll be attacked and ridiculed, but it works. And so then those people have to get away. And then the devil is reacting. The devil doesn't want to lose all these souls that the devil had all wrapped up around their host soul, the one that they got initially. And so look around, learn, figure this out, and start looking around situations that you know where the devil has been using a person, and in the situation that the person's in. And then start noticing if there's any other people around in that, or any other ancillary situations in it. Other situations, but always with the situations. The devil will work in situations, but there's always people in the situations. So then the devil's working through them. And there will always be these other tentacles with the devil in those. And then when they break off, move on to the next place. That's why Jesus says, take back your peace and move on and shake the dust. Get rid of the evil that has grabbed hold of you too. Get rid of the crud. That accumulated. Well, I think I've had so much. I've been going through demonic warfare here. It's just today my gut started feeling better. I had this insight last night, and so that broke a bond with the devil. It broke a tie, and there's probably a few more that need to be broken so that I can fully, free and clear, get away from the devil who has been using this other person. And I'm sorry, but it's not our responsibility to go down with the devil with the person who's stuck, who's imprisoned. Some people, in essence, have a whole prison wing filled with the people in their surroundings that they have taken on so much and they're so deceived, and all these other people then around them have gotten used by the devil through the person. That can happen in a business situation or a career situation. That the host soul, that the prisoner, that the devil is using and has deceived and is working through, is affecting these others, and then they don't realize, and maybe some of them then can start affecting others, maybe their wives or their children too. They take it home with them, and it becomes a problem. Then you got to break away, and then that can be painful, because the devil's going to not like it. I think you all get this whole concept now of how it isn't just the one person that the devil has hold of. It's all the ones that the one person also affects. And then unwittingly, when we have to break away, we're going to get the back whack, from the devil. We're going to get some assaults, some problems that we have to deal with and work through to get away and stay away. Stay away. And I think it really helped me when I thought of a young high school girl who had a couple of friends, or a group of friends, but two of them started really bullying this girl, just hateful and horrible to her. And she liked these girls, and she couldn't understand that. Not only did they bully, but then they broke away and rejected her. And that girl can't understand why they don't. And she's going after them, wanting them to be her friends. And surely I can make them be my friends and get them to like me again. And instead, see that she was lucky to, if she just leave them, let them leave, because they were evil. They had evil in them. They aren't evil. See, it's the devil in them that's evil. And they hadn't attached this girl yet. In a way they have, because in her mind, she can't take the rejection. And so keeps going back and back, trying to get them. And then then they love it, because they be even more mean to her than they were when they started being mean, when they were part of this other group of her friends. She's got other friends, but those two she still wants, and it's serious. So it's something that the adults around her, if they can somehow explain, and it's hard if the person isn't brought up in church or doesn't have concepts of devil and things and Christ and God and pure love, that she's really in dangerous territory there, because it's like giving the devil a gift. Like, wow, he had these two in his thrall, and now here comes this innocent girl thinking that she can win them back. And wow, here comes innocence right in to the two that the devil has, and he's got a gift, a gimme, a freebie. and it's messing her up. She can't, and if she could just be taught to understand there's spirit of darkness in these girls, and that spirit of darkness will take you over, and you will let it just by going into their periphery. Just keep trying to to get them back. Sometimes we have to let people go. Hell is filled. Jesus says the way is narrow, and few are they who are on it. And we have to accept that at a certain point in time, that we can't save these people. That maybe someone else can, or maybe they'll wake up and save themselves. And they can be respected. Dante had, popes were in hell. And you'd think, well, didn't anyone else around him, the cardinals or whoever around these people, help them and see? Maybe they didn't realize. Maybe they're in hell too. Who knows? But we can initially try, but we can always pray, love, forgive, and then live your life away. Get away. And yes, it can mean in temporal life, we don't have what we want. We have to give up a trip that we wanted. We have to give up a marriage that we wanted to keep together for the sake of the children. Not recognizing just how evil a spouse is, how taken up with evil, and how consumed the devil has consumed a spouse to the point that we were slowly but surely blinded to it. And then all of a sudden, this truth starts coming out, and we haven't had time to digest it yet. And we didn't have a psychological diagnosis to put with it that says they're not going to get better. It would take all the rest of their life in therapy just to try to keep it under control. Sociopaths and psychopaths are like that. You have to get away from them. And then you lose. You might lose your career through the accident you're in. You might lose income. You might lose even some of the respect of your own adult children when they see the successful other parent and think, was he really that bad? But one of my kids says, but he's so successful. He's got so much money. He was in these high positions. They don't realize he lied his way into these, but he was a hard worker. He's intelligent. They're very achieving people. The devil doesn't want to have trash. The devil will go after very exceptional people, intelligent people, but through people who are insecure, and he builds them up this way. He fills their pride, gives them a purpose, and blinds them to it all. Otherwise wonderful people, and still are in many ways, they just are locusts in not God is pure love. And it might even be in just some sections of their life. But it's the same thing. If you got too much drops of black ink in a glass of clear water, it's never going to be able to be poured into Christ, who is a pure water, because Christ will not take any taint. He's not going to allow us, impurified, to be one with him. So we have to get into God is pure love. That's what I finally came to in all this. We can do the devotions, the prayers, the forgiveness, the sacramentals, the holy water, pray the rosary, do all these things, read prayers of deliverance and exorcism on behalf of the people and ourselves, protect ourselves that way. Ask God, I have to do these for myself now so that I will be delivered from that person. Because I kept thinking I could get this turned around, or that I could keep things together. And no, in fact, it wouldn't surprise me if if a priest or the chancellor or something read what this person's written about me, mapped out this whole thing about why I should never be canonically approved. In my mind, I've given up the canonical approval. In fact, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe God isn't that thrilled with it anyway. It's a law created by humans. So compared to God is pure love, what do I choose? Well, I mean, there's no comparison. A church law made by humans that has already a lot of taint in it, and the authority of it online and in the Catholic press is this person who's got some things going on. Or do I want pure love? God is pure love. And all the wonderful spiritual growth that was happening with lots of suffering and pain, yes, but still, do I want that other that has been just a mess for me. Is this all this 17 years of yuck? Or do I want God more directly? And God is pure love, a chance for God is pure love. That even if I have nothing else in this world, except my two sweet loving dogs, which, if I don't get a whole lot better, I'll have to find them much better homes. They'll be loved wherever they are. But, it's like there's no sacrifice that I won't make to have God is pure love. And God knows that. He's heard it from me right now out loud. And the devil's heard it too. It is said that the devil hears us out loud. The devil is not allowed to the privy of our intellect and will, which is in the center of our souls. The devil is not allowed into that realm. So the inner recesses of our thoughts, the devil isn't allowed to have access to. So if you want to tell the devil to get out, you need to do it aloud. I'll pray the prayers out loud, the exorcism prayers, the deliverance prayers for myself. And I'm going to confess that it was pride, I'm assuming, in a certain way, that I thought somehow I could turn this situation around with this person. And same with my marriage. I had to give up with the marriage, but he left, see, so that helped, God really yanked him out by having me so maimed that he didn't want, it wasn't any fun anymore to be a sociopath and try to trick somebody who was so maimed. But anyway, and what was some other situation? Oh, I had to leave my home back in the Midwest that would have been ideal for me for the rest of my life, and my gardens were all in, and they were I was getting ready to do a photojournalism book with meditations. I was going to take things that my spiritual dad had written to me and use the photographs and write his wisdoms with the photos of my specimen trees up close. I'd bought camera equipment, a tripod, all the filters I've since have given to my grandson. Because, I don't have nearly the things, it was a phenomenal garden, 400 different specimens, and then all these roses and all, so it would have been spectacular, but the devil doesn't want anything spectacular. But God doesn't need that either. See, God is so far beyond. God is pure love, so far excels anything wonderful on earth that we think of that we want to do to glorify God. God is pure love, far exceeds all of the beautiful offerings and services and wonderful things we want to do for other people. If we have to sacrifice all that to be clear of the evil tentacles that have grabbed hold of us also through others who are taken in and have been a host to that for years, probably, maybe from childhood, like Anastasia. So, we have to be willing to give up all, for God is pure love. Give up our health, give up being able to get the house finished painting on this, even the backside, who knows if I can. I'm going to go do the front door. But I got the right kind of paint yesterday. It's my first back in the saddle. It wasn't much traffic, and I went late in the afternoon to a place that was open and got the quart of the right lust and the right sheen of paint, so it won't show all the brush marks. So, and it was a lot just to do that, drive that 15 minutes and back, but we made it. And the puppies loved having a trip in the truck. They've been real troopers being in here with me. So it's said that the devil can't get into creatures and things. So so they're safe. They're safe from the demonic situations. But the devil can make you very ill, like my gut attack. That was without warning, and it was bizarre. And I thought of that. I thought, is God allowed? Yes, it got my attention. And then going back through that situation in France with Anastasia and all the miracles of that happened, and the power of the Mass. And the Mass is based on God is pure love, his sacrifice. The Mass peaks at the mystic portal, which is at the consecration. There's a mystic portal that opens up to the other side at the consecration, where the priest is there elevating and consecrating and elevating the host. And in essence, at that point, he is showing the way through from us in the apse of the church, in the temporal, us in the temporal church, through to the mystical of eternity, of God is pure love, through the sacrifice that Jesus made. That's why we have to be willing to sacrifice everything. Jesus was doing great and wonderful deeds on earth. He was curing people. He was casting out demons. He was preaching and teaching. But he had to make an ultimate sacrifice to demonstrate to us what is the most important thing, and it is God is pure love. It's pure love, and it's linked with God. You have to have God as the womb, of pure love, the birthing womb of the embryo of our pure love to be birthed from God always, and as pure love. So that we're right back to that. And where's there it is. I think I hadn't this. I better keep zeroing in on these great spiritual masters that wrote about love, God's love. There's several of them, and including a more current one. He's deceased, Garrigou-Lagrange, Père Garrigou-Lagrange, John Paul II's spiritual director. And he's written all these wonderful, he's got, I think it might be a 2-volume set on love, God's love. Get a lot from that. And from the saints that write about it or lived it. So forget anything else. I mean, for me, and the being canonically approved has so paled. I wanted to do that out of love for the church and to be in union with it, because it is true that the great majority of people who are hermits now are going to be canonical hermits. And those of you who have bishops that won't do it, I sort of think those bishops are maybe onto something, a little bit smart. Like they don't want to be involved with that law for whatever reasons, which I think maybe they might be very in tune with the Holy Spirit on that. I don't know. My opinion and my experience from thus far with it. But if you can't live the canon law, God will honor that. I'm living the canon law I always have, and live 920, 921 of the catechism, and be hidden. And don't fall to the temptations to stand out. Our vocation does not need being standing out. It's our pure love that should stand out. We should all be messengers, silent, hidden messengers of God is pure love. And anonymously, when we can share this message, do so on internet, in writing, or anonymously. We don't need to be. We're like God's prophets. We're just mouthpieces of the Lord. Doesn't matter what our names are or where we live. So that's from what started out with me wanting to leave something for my grandchildren, has become now to be a vessel of his pure love. And somebody, is a wonderful person, was, and she's a viewer, talking about Louisa Picaretta and divine will, and said, if you get into divine will, the devil will flee, and say, oh, it's pure love. The divine will is rooted in pure love. See, so it's all comes down to pure love. But to be in God's divine will is to be in pure love. See, that's God's divine will right there. But so we can be beacons. We can be God's voice and God's living little critters of pure love. And granted, even if we just have an ounce of it so far, and I need to fill up 122 pounds, well, probably now 120 pounds. I've lost more weight. 120 pounds of pure love. I've got my whole being, joking, but yes, too. And by increments, we just keep learning. Like I learned this lesson, that hanging in, that it's sort of the American spirit, we don't give up and hang in, and no, we need to know when the devil's involved, and we've tried a little bit and we've tried a lot and we've done our prayers and there's no budging. We need to clear out and make whatever sacrifices we must in order to protect our souls and to know that it's pure love we're after. The devil cannot, and the devil will be extra angry even knowing that we want pure love, but the devil cannot compete with pure love. That is the key of all of how Jesus defeated evil, was through his pure love. His pure love sacrifice of everything. But the devil cannot get, nor the devil's people that he has taken over, his puppets, his hosts, his host beings, his center of the octopus, the body of the octopus, it cannot get our souls, cannot have our souls. And our souls have our intellect and our will. And so the more we will pure love, there's no contest there. It's a choice, though. It's a choice. Are we going to ding around with evil that we can't help and we feel sorry for, and is causing us all kinds of earthly damage and flack and misrepresentation and detraction or whatever it is? We can't help that. Well, let it go. Pure love is worth everything. God bless his real presence in us, and hope this helps.